Hi, welcome back to Steph's Positive Steps. My name is Stephanie and welcome to my weekly show. This week I want to talk about my weight story, just a little bit of my background as to what my history with my weight is and just to let you get to know me a little bit more. So today I wanted to share with you the story of my weight throughout my life. I know for some people it's different. Sometimes they were like fat babies and fat infants. For me that wasn't the case. I was at a normal weight, a normal kid at a normal weight until about 8 or 9 years old. That's when I started to put on some extra weight. And it, crept on slowly. Like I was normal skinny kid when I was 7, but I know that I started putting on weight. And the first time that it was ever really brought up to me that there was something wrong with my body was when I was in 4th grade. I remember at school we were doing some sort of a fitness test, and I remember getting weighed and staring down at that scale that when I was 10 years old read 105 pounds. And I don't know what that meant. Like, I knew I was a little bit bigger than my friends, but whatever. It was just a number. It didn't mean anything. Not like it would now. I don't remember how tall I was. I was an earlier bloomer, and so I was a little bit taller than my peers, but apparently not tall enough to weigh 105. I remember going to the doctor with my mom because she wanted to get it further investigated, and I remember that my very round doctor called me fat when I was 10 years old and basically said that if I kept this up it would be a problem and I would be less healthy and I really needed to lose weight. And hearing that when you're 10 years old is really hard. Like, I was already an awkward kid as it was. Like, I was not a pretty child. I had had glasses from the time I was in kindergarten. I was nerdy. My hair was stringy, or like it just didn't look nice, and I didn't dress very much like a girl. I was a huge tomboy. And then to be overweight and called fat, it was a lot to handle at that age. Like, I knew I was smart, and that kind of was, and I was funny. I was smart and funny, and that was kind of the only thing going for me. So it was really hard to hear that from my doctor. So in 6th grade, we had another fitness test. And I remember for my height, which maybe I was around like 5 foot then or something, I was maybe the upper 4 foot. I don't remember. I was kind of tall for a 6th grader. I wasn't the tallest, but I was kind of tall. I remember I weighed 125, and my mom said to me like, oh, well that's fine because I wish I could weigh 125. And, so my mom reasoned that I was growing into my adult body and I weighed fine for what an adult would weigh. And so it didn't matter what my 6th grade health chart said because it would have been fine for my mom. So, my mom this whole time, she wanted to love me and treat me unconditionally, or love me unconditionally and let me not worry about it. But I feel like that in turn is more detrimental. Fast forward a few years. So again, in another health situation, I was in 8th grade health class. We of course did our height, weight kind of a thing. And at this time, I was fully grown. I was 5 feet 4 inches tall, and I weighed 160 pounds. And to me as an 8th grader, I knew I was bigger than some of the other kids, but I really wasn't huge. Like, I didn't feel like a chunky monkey. I just was kind of bigger. But what we did in this health class is we, for a whole week, wrote down everything we ate throughout the day. So we had like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. And I remember I filled that thing out like, and I mean, it didn't have a ton of space on it, but I was honest. I wrote in what I ate. And I remember we were supposed to check it against a partner's. And I had a guy friend that I had known since kindergarten, totally like not even a love interest, just a guy. And we read each other's. And I remember his comment to me was, wow, if I ate that much, I'd be huge. And he was just this little thing, and part of me was like, well, what do you eat? And I saw his thing, and I was like, this is hardly anything. But I took his comment to heart, because I thought about that. I was like, what if he's right? What if I'm overweight because I'm eating way too much? And so I talked to my mom about it, and she of course talked to that doctor, the round doctor that had called me fat at one point, and he had apparently given my mom like meal plans my doctor had given her, and so he had 1,200, 1,400, 1,600 meal plans to follow by to lose weight. And so my mom had some of those, and so she taught me about calorie counting. Then I started walking, then I started losing weight. And so I got down to 140 and realized I couldn't restrict anymore. I wanted to get down to 135, but I just loved cake and cookies and snacks too much to do that. So I weighed that for about a year, and then junior year of high school, I loosened up a little bit, had an extra cookie here and there, and I started to gain weight. After that junior year, that summer, I went and visited my friends in Arizona, and I had a blast while I was there, and the mom was very motherly and wanted to make sure we had plenty to eat. And so the mom got us a bunch of snacks, left them in the pantry, and was like, hey, here's some snacks, make sure you eat up and enjoy. And I remember while I was on the trip, I was eating what I was used to after having counted and restricted, but I remember that day consciously making a choice to eat extra for pleasure, even though I knew I didn't need it and that there might be consequences. And so from then on, I let myself eat a little more, like, oh, I'm tired, I'm stressed, I'm gonna eat a little cookies, it'll make me feel better. Oh, look at this, snacks. And after that, about every 6 months, I gained 5 pounds. And so when I graduated high school, I weighed 155. At the end of my freshman year of college, I weighed 165. And then during my sophomore year of college, I saw myself on a scale peak up at 175. This scared me a bit, and so I started, intuitively restricting, eating less, eating fewer sweets, and losing the weight. And so by intuition, I got my weight back down, and it stayed that way for a few years. Until 3 years ago, when a bunch of stress caught up with me and I gained 10 pounds. So I got out of the 160s and into the 170s because of a stressful job. I couldn't lose the weight after that. Even after I had left that job and had less stress, I could no longer intuitively eat and lose weight. And so I started trying different things. Like I tried the Hallelujah diet, I tried the plan, which I really liked, but I couldn't stick with it. I used tracking apps like MyFitnessPal, or there's one called Fat Secret or something like that, so I tried counting my food and make sure I didn't eat too much, but I really couldn't stick with it. I even tried eating all raw, but after a few days I would derail. I tried paleo, and after like a week or two that would derail. Vegetarian, just nothing I seemed to try would stick. I'd be really dutiful for, up to 3 weeks. But then I just would start to go crazy, like either it'd cost too much or it'd be too much work, or like I would just feel like a crazy psycho person from depriving myself. So then I would stop, and no matter what I did, I couldn't get the weight off. And so I kind of gave up. Right before I graduated from college, I had this major senior project I was working on, and I got super stressed out about it. And I was aware of the fact that I was overeating, but I couldn't stop because that felt like the only way that I could deal with it. And that's when I gained my final 10 pounds. I felt dependent on food. Like, I couldn't get through without eating food, and it was a comfort for me, and it was just really stressful. I was ashamed of the fact that I was dependent on food to make me feel good. I was less able to keep up with my husband. We'd go for walks, he'd go for hikes, and I'd be huffing and puffing. And I didn't like how I felt. Even though, I knew I looked chubby, it wasn't mostly how I looked, it was how I felt. I didn't feel like I was the person I perceived myself to be on the inside. On the inside, I see myself as someone who's fit and who can be active, who can keep up, and who's healthy. And this person on the outside didn't reflect who I wanted to be on the inside. This time, what seems to be different is the fact that I finally got to the point where I was tired of not being who I felt like I was on the inside. Got tired of being overweight and unhealthy and having excuses. Got tired of being dependent on food. Like, I don't need food to make me happy. I can make myself happy. I'm tired of being an addict, essentially. Tired of not looking like my friends. Tired of, when you're hanging out with people and all you can think about is the next time you get to eat something. That's really dumb. Why can't I be focused on the moment? All I worry about is when I get my next hit of food. That's really, really dumb. I need to feel my feelings and cope with them. Because despite what packaging or marketing may say, I shouldn't need a substance to help me out. You can't buy or eat your way to emotional health. You just have to deal with your stuff. If you try to eat away your feelings, you just get fat and you still have your feelings. They don't go away. In fact, they probably get worse because you feel worse about yourself. Today I weighed 170.9. So right now I'm at a BMI of 29.3. I'm losing weight, I'm on a good path. I've been feeling more and more comfortable with my calorie restriction, and I anticipate that I'm going to reach my goals just because I'm tired of not being the person on the outside that I feel like I am on the inside. My life is too precious for me to waste it. Anger fuels you to action, and if you're angry about the state that you're in, you'll find a way to fix it. And not blame anybody else, not blame situations. Like, I could blame my mom for enabling me, I could blame my doctor for being a total jerk, I could blame society for creating addictive foods. I'm sick of the way things are, and that fuels me to action. I am fueling my feelings into creating a better life for myself. Like this summer, I was upset about my friends leaving and not really having anyone around. And so instead of moping about feeling sorry for myself, I made myself get up and go running. Whenever I'm upset about the fact that I don't have healthy food around to eat, I get my butt off the couch, walk to the store, and buy healthy foods. Or I'll do the dishes, that way I can make healthy foods. You know, instead of being like, oh, I'm so tired, I'm just gonna go eat crappy food. Like, well, if I'm gonna go eat out, I'm gonna buy food that's healthy for me. That way it'll give me energy. Because I'm sick of being tired. I'm sick of letting excuses dictate my life. I am worth more than my excuses, and so are you. You are worth so much more than anything anyone's ever told you, and if you want to change your life, you have to believe in yourself. You can't let someone else tell you who you're going to be or how it's going to be. You're ultimately the one that lets you be who you're going to be. So what kind of a choice you're going to make? Like this video if it inspired you. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this and to track my progress. Comment below and tell me what your story was like. Thanks for watching, and remember to keep taking positive steps. Positive steps. And yours too if you take some steps, maybe.